Hello world, this is Zan, starting up my game as Late Age Calum for the 2022 Dominions 5 tournament hosted on Lucid server. So this is just going to be straight on into turn 2. We have everyone's pretender names. We have unpaid undergrad number 1, Commander of Holm, is the prophet of hematopathologist, degree pending, stealer of corpses, compassionate beloved father, so probably vampire maker. We have Dongyong, the general prophet of Thelos, got a soil leaf lord. Astaroth. So both of these guys have not renamed the prophet. Shame on them. Prophet of Rango, not okay with shit on the sheet. God of unnatural lust, harvester of sailors. For me, we have good luck everyone, the storm general. Prophet of Pallbearer, prince of the forest, prince of the grasses, grain and reed, and the unsleeping god. Went with Pallbearer just because I was trying to read up, for lore motivation about the Zoroastrian religion and Persia and all that, Iran and all that fun stuff that Calum is based off of. And I was reading about the Towers of Silence and all that stuff and the importance of pallbearers, and I figured, I'm probably going to get rushed, so let me name myself accordingly to help those that are attacking me straight to the graves. Ha ha ha. I thought it was cool at the time. Pangea, we have Divine Gunholder, aka DGH, Prophet of Pan Pan Pan, you're dead. Negate is Daddy, the hearse. Prophet of Immersion Hydra V5, Pillar, that is Purity. Next one will be bigger. Shall hereby be known as the Prophet of Illegible Gothic Script, Prince who knows all things, Shining Boat of Heaven. This is probably because the hearse is a little human and he probably wants to prophet, one of the big giant guys. Ilya Repin, the Void, is Prophet of a Hero of Our Time, King of Kings, Seducer of Life, and the Tower of Strength. We have Warren Buffett, the Yasserite Scout, Prophet of the Bull Market, Master of Volcanic Fire, so this is the Golden Idol, love that thing. Raga has Frangisan, the Pagan Solar, Prophet of Bird Up. You would think all these bird references mean he's going to go cold, but no one in their right mind would go cold Raga, except I would probably do it one day. And then we have Masali Ralvak, the tent owner, prophet of a magnificent big rock, author and finisher of our faith, the mounted lord, the armorer, the unshakable, and the master of arcane mystery. So this is just imprisoned, super high scale, super high magic paths. And of course, we get an unexpected event in Calum, which says, hey, it'd be really fun. How about some unrest on turn 2? Because you don't need gold early on during expansion, right? So shoot, well, there goes half of my capital income. Misfortune scales already doing their job. I kind of take a look around. I decide that both of these would be the easier provinces to take because they have 1, high resources because of forest, and this is Forest Mountain, and 2, they're lightly defended. And right now, I just need resources. Really, right now, I just need gold, but can't have everything apparently. So I recruit a mammoth and 2 more spire horns. I keep recruiting the iron crafters because they give me more resources. And I send what I have into this province with my spire horn on hold and attack archers and my armored Reptorian warriors with the mammoths on hold and fire closest. Notably, none of these units have ranged weapons, but what I have found out is if you do hold and attack, these guys will fly. If you do attack, they will fly. If you put them in a line and attack, they will walk. But I don't want them to do any of them. I want them to hold and attack while walking, and I found that hold and fire closest does this with the flyers. I'm doing this because they have shields, they have passable armor. Rapturian plate cuirasses, I think they have less penalties than normal armor, and they have 1 defense less. Lore-wise, it is because flying in heavy armor is understandably difficult. So that is why it has 1 armor less, but I think it also has that 1 encumbrance less, which is kind of cool. And the plate cuirass is my favorite armor for an infantry unit just because it is both cheap, massable, and effective. I think the 14 armor is like a good, healthy amount of armor to have. Anything else tends to be more expensive. And not to say I don't use it, but I think at a good middle cost to effectiveness ratio lands the plate cuirass, and for Calum that is the Raptorian plate cuirass, which is ever so slightly weaker because they need to fly. Regardless, that's my moves just for turn 2. Nothing too crazy. Let me start taking notes here. At what time I'm switching these turns, because that's probably good for you guys. Okay, let's move now to turn 3. We have our first battle in the Four Woods. So here we have our big line, and as expected, they are holding. The crossbows are shooting at them, which is perfect as well. Now, their units are moving, and we had our Spire Horn on hold and attack archers, which should land here in the back. But I guess these guys having javelins counts as ranged weapons, which is fine. I think it worked out. This elephant might have died if it ran into all these guys on themselves. These guys are kind of slow. So that's something I'm realizing now, but I don't think I'll be changing during my scripts. The fact that these guys are slow, they're mainly there to like buffer the morale of these elephants. And I don't really want them all jumping in because there's a chance that they form a line in front of the enemy and the elephants never make contact. So ugly, but I think this works out. Okay, we get another event because, again, Zan is not allowed to have gold. So let's have more misfortune. Joy. I can recruit 1 elephant now. And here I want to recruit another commander, Raven Lord, so I don't have to do this with the Iron Crafters. Okay, let's move on to turn 4. Write the timestamp down. And we lose a unit being crippled, which sucks. Okay, and now we have the Iron Crafter to introduce another Mammoth and the 2 Spirehorn in the front. I wanted to put the Mammoth and the Spirehorn in the same squad for, again, morale reasons. I think it works against me because the Spirehorn weren't on hold and fire. So they're going to march up, get killed, and then rout that specific elephant early. Yeah, and that's a disaster. Because he's going to come, he's going to ignore my general, but he's going to beeline for the Iron Crafter at the bottom. Of course he is. Oh, Killian expansion. Never change. I lose 3 Spirehorn and the Iron Crafter. Luckily, the elephant did stay on the field, so now I have 3 of them. And I'm going to send in another elephant on its own, far in the back, so hopefully it doesn't rout, with the Raven Lord to go and deal with this province. I know a lot of people don't like elephant expansion. I think early on, it's a lot of bang for your buck. Once you start meeting players, elephants can be good, but they are very expensive, so it's hard to make gold positive trades with them. And their magic resistance is poor, so once magic comes on, it's pretty bad. And you don't want your enemy casting Frighten on an elephant either. Luckily though, look, I can afford money. Now that I have another province that didn't get an event, I can afford things. All right, let's move on to the next turn here. Okay. At some point, here we are. As you notice, the map has changed. I went on vacation for some time, and I had Kirby 1 take over and help me with my expansion while I was on vacation. Unfortunately, that means I don't have the turns, but here they are. The battles, he worked with me very closely in terms of, where should he go, what should he do. So we had battles like this where I was worried about these heavy cav. So I had a line of Iron Crafters. I think I'm already in control at this point. This is in Kirby. And I brought them to do Stone Skin so they don't get shot by arrows and die. And then Earth Grip, these heavy cav. Because human units like Cavalry, with their 10 strength, are very unlikely to remove the Earth Grip, and it will stop them from 1, attacking and killing my units, and 2, 2 attack versus shield is deadly, and 2, it will get them killed fairly quickly. So we had this line to meet them, and another group of Spirehorn to jump in the back, kill these archers, and hopefully rout their units. These infantry jumping between them, that's all just a big plus. Now most of these cav have been Earth Gripped, and they're super dead. So very mage expensive, but I have a plan. Another reason I did this is because I needed to bring units from my capital to do this fight, and I didn't have any commanders. Because since I'm playing the Kalians, I'm less inclined to actually recruit indie commanders that walk and then try to lead flying troops. So that's just me myself. We do catch with our scouts the Atlantean expansion force, and they're very far from home, but it's Atlantis. What can we do? We spot that their bless is PR 15, reinvig, 10 bonus, which is interesting for them, and hit points. So this just kind of clarifies it's a monolith. Surprise. And they do have their sacreds here, but you don't often see their sacreds being used. You mostly will see just I'm trying to get one that's not injured. So, I mean, they hit pretty hard. They do weakness on hit, which is kind of cool. But their armor is acceptable. And they're just kind of whatever units. They have very high morale, which is kind of cool. But you usually just see their Ice Guard. But early on during during Atlantean expansion, you don't often see Ice Guard because they're very resource intensive. Here, you have a few of them over here. The spear variety are kind of weird. I think the sword variety are actually some of the best ones, but for most opponents, you probably want the halberd variety that hit freaking hard. These guys in their full plate, I guess, are good. I guess for expansion, maybe you just take these because you're more likely to fight crossbows, so you want the shield. But once you start fighting players that don't have crossbows, you bring the halberdiers that they have enough protection to just not care and whack. For general expansion, though, I like him using these mournfuls. I think they have good amount of hit points, fair stats, decent weapon. Their issue is that their attack skill with the weapon should be 9. This guy just has experience, and their morale is very, very low. If you read the lore for them, it's because they're cowards who fled the destruction and have been levied into combat, and they're using the bones of their ancestors or predecessors or whatever as armor instead of ice because, again, they are cowards. They are looked down upon. But for expansion, I'm sure bones are cheaper to make than ice armor, so they work out. Okay, and we have the final battle at Rid. This is me. Again, sending in the same formation we've all seen, -1 elephant that died at some point. Just into some basic units. I thought that went pretty well. That's pretty much what you expect out of a fight. 2 losses, 10 losses in the one against the heavy cab. But hey, losing 10 of these into 10 heavy cab is fair. So that leaves us to this expansion. At this point, I start talking to people. I make a quick non-aggression pact with Utgard. I make another one with Ulm. And I make one with Tianqi. Tianqi being the former Ermorian player from my Archocephala game. I make a non-aggression pact with Atlantis, telling them, hey, I'm going for 115, don't go there. I kind of wish I had 142. They have no right taking 142. But if I was going to fight Atlantis, it would have happened a few turns ago, and since I was on vacation, I let it happen. If I were Atlantis, I think I'd attack me, because Ice Guard, there's nothing I can do to even damage Ice Guard early on as late age Calum. I can recruit my Earthbound, and I can recruit Indie Crossbows, and that is the best chance I have. However, this early on, they might not have Ice Guard. They might have these bone guys because Ice Guard are resource intensive. And I have the same resource issue that they have. The difference is I have Iron Crafters that can forge me stuff. So in theory, there will be a tiny window, which I have missed, where I will have better quality units than they will, and I could have actually gone in and done something about Atlantis. Hopefully that doesn't bite me in the butt later. For now, I'm kind of happy with it's it's not the biggest expansion, but it's kind of nice, and yeah, I mean it's fair. We're on turn 10. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, it's not fantastic by any means. But for a multiplayer game, I think that gets me to be a middle size. There's no one that's going to coalition me because I'm large. And I think this is pretty good. I'm starting to recruit Iron Crows because as my expansion is ending, I want these elite units with the high recruitment point as kind of the vanguard of my army, depending where I go. I'm going to start taking these Indie Thrones because I can. Like this one and this one are probably good. This is a lore master throne, so it's probably, although it's got a lot of units, it's probably not well magically defended. This one just seems really small, so I should be okay. And yeah, I think that's a good spot to leave the first episode on. So hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys next time.